Welcome to the August bullet journal setup that is deliciously fun and full of blueberries. Join me to duplicate some of these pictures and learn by drawing along or just enjoy. Welcome, I'm your Doodle Dragon. I absolutely love blueberries, and I feel very fortunate to live in an area where we have a long blueberry season and a lot of blueberry farms. I go and pick berries at the farms. I eat tons of berries. I have, I think, 5 blueberry bushes in my yard, and they are my absolute favorite fruit. So I am glad that you are here with me to draw blueberries and color them in. For this setup, I decided to use my Prismacolor coloring pencils, and I actually have a set of 72 colored pencils, and I really like them for this job because blueberries come in many different shades of blue and purple, and I really wanted to be able to layer the pencils. I find that the Prismacolor pencils layer much more nicely and give me more nuance in my colors than when I use my Crayola pencils. So for that reason, I chose to leave my Crayolas in the box this time and to get out my Prismacolor pencils and to layer them. So you'll see me using one green on top of another, using a purple with a blue on top, and lots of things like that. You can let me know in the comments about what you think about the different greens that I chose. When I look at my blueberry bushes in real life, I notice that although there is a lot of variation among the colors of the blueberries themselves, the leaves are pretty similar in color, and the color differences I see tend to be more of an illusion created by the different directions that the light is striking the leaves. In July, I did an ORCA themed journal, and you can see my gratitude page here. When I decided to do my July journal, I also decided that I was going to use some words to describe different aspects that I associated with orcas that I also wanted to make sure I was thinking about in my own life. In that orca journal, I used the characteristics of strong, persistent, and steady. So when I opened up my calendar page throughout the month, I was able to see those reminders to be strong, persistent, and steady, which I enjoyed. This month, I thought about blueberries, and I thought blueberries are very resilient, and eating blueberries is one way to help have a healthy body. So I decided to record resilient and healthy in my journal this month. So when I open my pages all month long, I see resilient and I think, oh, I can be resilient and healthy, and think, oh, gotta do my exercise or maybe eat the healthy foods. These are just little reminders that I use to be a friend to myself and help encourage myself to do better. So I left lots of room on these 2 pages so that I can write notes or put post-it notes on them and have lots of space. I like to put my grocery list on the right-hand side, which is why I chose that particular place to put the word healthy. And on the left-hand side, I tend to put lots of different things that I need to do. Many of these things are things that help me have longevity and be resilient over time. If you like to write yourself little notes to be a friend to yourself and to help remind yourself of things, let me know in the comments what some of those things are. I'd love to hear them. On the calendar page, I chose this very saturated blue because I thought it was great with blueberries, and it's a little bit different than the blues that I used in the blueberry coloring. I used the wider side of the Tombow dual brush pen in order to both draw wide, thick lines by putting the pen at an angle for my calendar grid, as well as using the same tip for writing the word August with my beginning calligraphy. I am quite a beginner with the calligraphy, so please, if you have any advice, give me some help down in the comments area. Thank you. Although this video is not sponsored, I do really like these Tombow dual brush pens because If you do turn them at an angle, you can get a very consistent, thick, wide line. And also, using pressure, you can make thicker and thinner lines, which is great for someone who, like me, is beginning to learn about calligraphy. I also really like that I can use the same exact color with that smaller fine point of the pen to do smaller things like the letters at the top. Of course, I went back to my old stand by the Sharpie for the numbers. I really wanted to put a bucket of blueberries, and I made this bucket like the can buckets that we used to use at my grandmother's house when we picked raspberries in her backyard. And I put top 3 at the top because I like to really think about what is the most important thing that I need to do, because if I don't prioritize, I probably won't get done with the things I want the most, since I generally run out of time. I filled the whole page with this can style bucket, and I decided I'd probably put my number 1 and number 2 and number 3 things that I'm planning to do for the day on each of those sections of the bucket. So that's why I left those pretty simple, and I think I can just stick a post-it on each one and have that for the job. I don't want to forget. This is another area where I did lots of layering, and I went through with different colors, and I drew blue upon blue and a little bit of purple underneath some. Some of the blues are a little more green, some are a little more purple, and some are a little more blue. And I just kept covering the colors with blue over purple over blue until I ended up with colors that I thought were nice blueberries and that they had enough variation that I could really tell the different blueberries apart from one another. If you haven't ever eaten blueberries, or especially if you haven't ever picked blueberries, blueberries are very firm berries and they are able to stack very high in buckets and not get squished. So when we pick blueberries, we usually pick into 5-gallon buckets. My daughters love blueberries just about as much as I do. So when they were little, we used to go blueberry picking every season, and we would pick about 75 to 100 pounds of blueberries, and we would freeze them because they freeze very well. And they were generally gone by Thanksgiving. So from about August until November, we would eat 75 to 100 pounds of blueberries every year between the 3 of us. Well, with a little help from my husband too. And blueberries are great for picking. They are on bushes that we can reach the top of. They hang nicely in little clumps, and there are no stickers, and they just kind of roll off when you roll them a little in your fingers, and they just roll right into your bucket. And then you dump your smaller bucket of berries into your larger bucket. For my 3 habits this month, I decided to track walking, yoga, and sleep. These are 3 things that I like to make sure I get done in a way that's going to help me have a healthier life. So my husband and I decided that we were going to walk for half an hour a day for 30 days, and we'll see how that goes. We'll write the times. And then for yoga, I like to do yoga 7 days a week because I just feel better and less stiff if I do yoga in the morning before I go to work, as well as often at bedtime. And for sleep, it's easy for me to accidentally stay up late, even though I have to get up early. So it's a nice reminder to make sure that I'm getting a good solid 7 hours. Now, I always like to make sure that I save room for gratitude, and so I generally use my last page as a place to record some things that I am grateful for. And so here I have the title, Very Grateful, with little circles as a nod to blueberries. And then I've just got some pictures of blueberries that are big enough so that I can write down something that I'm grateful for on each one. In order to complete this page and have the spots with blueberries for me to record my gratitudes, I use these colored pencils again, and as I am coloring the blueberries, I am thinking about, I hope that it's easy to write on top of this Prismacolor colored pencil and that it shows up. So I guess if you want to stick around for the September video next time, you'll get to see whether or not my writing was going to turn out over the top of this Prismacolor. Although I would like to keep a gratitude journal for every day, I find that it just seems like it never gets done on an ongoing basis. So having a monthly place where I can put my gratitudes is really nice because I don't have to feel like I have to do it every day, but I still get to record those things and then look back and see what some of the things I was grateful for were at that time. As you could maybe guess, after putting this much time and energy into making these pages, I decided to save them, and so it will be fun to look back later and see what was happening in life and what I was grateful for during this time. If you want to share some gratitudes with me or with the community, feel free to put it down in the comments. I do read every one of the comments that people write, so thank you so much to those who've written comments. If you enjoy seeing bullet journals unfold, seeing how to do some cards that you can make and recreate as greeting cards for people that you want to use them for, or if you just enjoy fun little doodles, please subscribe, and that way you'll get more of this content, and also it helps other people find us as well. And now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the video, which is where we get to flip through and see how the whole spread turned out. There's the end of my July journal. Here's my 2 pages for notes, the calendar, and of course place to record a few things. And over on the last page, the gratitude journal. Thank you so much for watching. These videos are intended for entertainment purposes only and not giving advice. I wish you all of the best, and I hope you have a wonderful week and you have time for things you enjoy. Take care.